So welcome everybody to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Friday, July the 23rd, 2021. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And press 1, and that puts you in the queue to talk to us. And we'd love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. We had a real good conversation yesterday on one of the mind goal management sheets and some questions that somebody had on it. And so, perhaps you have a question about something other than the reality management worksheet. This one that we discussed yesterday was the mind goal management. It's about framing and setting your goals. And so that makes your day run smoother. It keeps you on target, keeps you in alignment with your purpose. So do you have any questions about any of the worksheets? That one, I was opening it on the website as I'm speaking, so it's taken me just a little bit. Hold on. We also talked about the physiological effects of emotional suppression, and we talked about the 3 filters of mind. And so there's lots of worksheets out there. There's also some posters about the 5 smooth stones. There's posters on the love exchange. There's the commitments, the beatitude poster. There's just lots and lots of tools out there. So put them to work in your life. And then if you have a question, how does one work? Give us a call, just like Cecilia did yesterday. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart. And welcome, everybody, to a conversation about what I consider to be one of the most amazing topics in the world. And hopefully we're getting better and better at understanding it and explaining it. But we're going back into the first century Aramaic language of a man named Yeshua and learning to decode as precisely as we can exactly what tools he offered people to change what's happening in their lives. And so we're here to share those tools with you, and I'm glad that you're part of the conversation of the verification of the accuracy of the translation work that we've been doing has always been, does it work? Can you get the result promised out of what you're doing and saying? If you can, then you're on track. Now, if you listen to this man Yeshua 2,000 years ago, there is a pretty plain, simple statement that's made about what he was doing and why he was here. Came from his own lips, and they did translate this one fairly accurately, and he says, I come to bring you life. Not dogma, not doctrine, just life, and life more abundantly. If you found that engaging in these teachings brings you a more abundant life, that is, not a more abundant life, not money, not the money form of abundance, but do you have a deeper experience of the presence of human life in your process of moving forward? And we have a rather simple experiential definition of human life, and that is, if you ever held a newborn child. When you hold a newborn and you really can bypass your own biases and whatever's going on for you and really truly tap into that newborn energy, you're going to experience the presence of active love. And the definition of life that we work with is the flow of love through a cell. Now, if this teaching is bringing you closer and closer to the flow of love through your cellular structure that is closer to life, then we know we're on track. We know that you're moving in the direction of incorporating the truth about the teachings of this man, Yeshua. Now, that doesn't mean every moment's going to be a dream, because, we're really clear that the healing crisis process that is not Dr. Feelgood. It means that you're going to get to face all kinds of things that maybe have never been faced in your bloodline, and you're going to get to clean them up. And that's not always going to be Dr. Feelgood. But each time you come to the other side of a healing opportunity, notice that there's more of a state of peace. There's more of the presence of love. And that's exactly what we're looking to verify the veracity of what we're doing, to know that we're on track with truth. And so if that's working for you, then pass it on, be with it, and come join us. If it's not, let us know, and we'll look for correction. And or go find something else. But you're going to find, if you apply these tools on an ongoing basis, there is going to be the deepening experience of the active presence of love in your life. And that's what we're looking to support. We are on the chapter on transitions in the book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again, chapter 15. And if you're following along with us, we're at the top of page 91. And we're talking to Richard about moving out of old states of mind into new states of mind. And that sometimes in the transition phase, it can seem like a loss because the old parts of us that are being removed, that is forgiven, no longer being present, can seem like, oh, I've lost something. There's something gone from me. And hopefully that will be true. The whole objective is to remove everything that is unlike life from your experience. So Richard is starting to explain some of the insight that he's having. He says, I see now, as you said earlier, Michael, that we never do to someone else what we have not already done to ourselves. I'm also realizing that we first have to create abuse within ourselves in order to abuse another or have another abuse us. I was trying to ostracize the person I blamed, but I was the one who ended up alone. In the end, my behavior led to nothing but gossip and lost friendships. I didn't even see my part in it. All I received for my efforts was negative attention and the same painful experiences over and over. And I was to blame, when I was in the blame and guilt mode, it seemed like I had power. Now, it looks more like a false, useless attempt to protect myself, to be right, and to keep in control. My whole life, I've loved delivering the line, you'll be sorry when you see what you've done to me. I remember my dad saying it to my mom, and my mom saying it to my sister. It's strange, but as I think of that, I feel a lot of sadness. I can see that I've followed the family relationship pattern. I wanted to appear to be right and stay in control. By doing this, I was able to avoid dealing with my sadness. So here Richard is stepping into awareness of a level of his mind that he doesn't normally look at, that he doesn't normally deal with, that he uses his hostility or fear to avoid. And what we're inviting him to do, as he starts to look at his hostility as fear, as he starts to uncover his sadness, life is not going to be Dr. Feelgood. But as he's able to bring those things forward in the presence of active love, what he's going to notice is that he's freeing himself from the hostility, the fear, the manipulation, and the sadness. And what there's going to be is a more active presence of love in his structure. And physiologically, you will feel the impact of doing this work if you truly are stepping in, using the tools, and moving through those layers and those levels. And that's our whole objective with this work. You know, we've talked a little bit, a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, about physiological states. And I'm realizing more and more that these physiological states are reflections of the patterned way that we've lived our lives. And we can begin to tap into those patterned ways of living our lives if we observe ourselves. We've talked before about being the thinker apart from the thought, the feeler apart from the feelings, the actor apart from the actions. One of the ways of doing that is to recognize the voice you speak with. We talked about the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic state. And there are actually three states that the nervous system finds itself in. One of those states we've called, or is called, the sympathetic dominant state. In that sympathetic dominant state, one is in survival mode. Fear, flight, fright, freeze. And more as research is being done, it's looking like the freeze mode is still a third state where one just goes into a catatonic state. And the fear mode, while it is survival, sets the whole physiological experience into emergency protection mode, which means that the creative mode, the thrive mode, is not available. It's a state that's designed for survival, when survival is threatened. But if one goes into survival mode when there is no survival issue at hand, somebody has, triggered into an old memory of, let's say childhood abuse, and they go into that survival mode, their physiology is going into protection mode, which can be life-saving. But if you're in that protection, life-saving mode continuously, you can't be in creative mode. And when you're not in creative mode, you can't thrive. So it can be useful to just, another way to step back and observe your mind in operation and the way that your physiology functions can be to just listen to your own tone of voice. They talk about a person, they're so frightened they couldn't speak, or their voice began to crack. That's part of the freeze mode of the nervous system. And when the freeze mode takes over, the innervation to the voice box is blocked, because when you go into the survive mode and then go beyond it to freeze mode, the nerve supply to the voice box is cut off. And so that can be a reflection. So if you find, your voice going up, your throat's tightening, you're locking down your voice, you can start to recognize, there's something moving in my physiology that's got me past survival into freeze mode. If you look at the survival voice, it's the voice of hostility and fear. And so you can listen to your own tone of voice and recognize what state you're in. It's another way of self-observation. And while if there is truly danger, you want to be in that the sympathetic dominant state. You absolutely want to be there. That's when you'll have the strength to run, to fight, you'll have your best chance at survival. But if you're in that mode, but there's nothing to be in survival about, then you're in destruct mode. And the reason why it's important to notice you're in that mode is because if you're there constantly, which a lot of people are, a lot of people who've lived in childhoods of hostility and fear, or in relationships that have been filled with abuse, live in that mode continuously, and you can't really call it living. It's just surviving. And it takes opening up to that parasympathetic dominant state where the nerve flow through the whole structure, rather than being about protection, is about aliveness, is about incorporating. And that's going to come with the voice tones that are rich and strong and healthy. An expression that's quite different from, oh my God, my voice is cracking and my life is in threat or my life is in danger. Especially if there's no actual danger present. So that can be another tool that taps you in. And if you find yourself in that either freeze mode or survival mode, that's when you want to really dig out the forgiveness tools. Again, if you're not actually in a survival situation, then there's a simulated survival because of something that's been triggered from the past. And whatever has been triggered from the past, because of the extreme of it is that freeze mode, literally, where somebody can't even move in fear. It cuts off the flow of life to the cell. And that's where you want to have the flow of life restored. How do you do that? Well, if you haven't engaged in the forgiveness process yet, we invite you to go to our website, whyagain.org. And if you click in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the words that say Start Here. Click on that link, and that will start walking you through the whole process of forgiveness. It'll take you to radio shows where we've done the whole forgiveness process with someone. It will take you to some of the more significant radio shows that we've done over the years. And you can actually do the forgiveness process right there live on the website. There is also, there are pages where you can download the worksheets, especially the forgiveness tool, print them on your own and start doing them at home. Lots of instructions there for how to use them. And or you can go to your app store on your phone, and if you type in the words Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness, Heartland, all one word, Heartland Aramaic, ARAMAIC, Forgiveness. Whether you've got an Android phone or an iPhone, you'll be looking at the world's first and only forgiveness app, created by Genie. We invite you to download it, begin to use it, and as you use it, I'm sure that questions will arise, and we invite you to keep a notebook, or have you keep the notepad open on your phone and write down your questions, so that when radio show time comes, you've got your questions in hand. You don't have to think about and remember, oh, what was that? There was that really subtle thing that I needed to know about. Keep notes. Keep track of your questions. And we're here to answer them. And or we're here to search for the answers with you. If you're on one of those stations where we can't see you in our control panel, most people listen to the radio show by calling into the show. But if you're on one of those stations we can't see you, then you can't talk to us directly. And the call-in number, if you want to talk to us, if you have some questions or comments or need some support, the call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you'll be listening to the show. And if you have a question, all you need to do is push 1 on your phone. Through the magic of technology, that will raise a hand and we'll be having a conversation. How can we support you? 563-999-3581. Miss Jeannie, it's about 16 minutes after 1. Do we have anybody out there in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
We do have a hand up, and I believe that it's Miss Cecilia, area code 480. You're on the air.
Awesome. Hey there, young lady. How are you today?
Actually, this is another conversation that, I know I would love to do everything possible to deal with because, of course, as I said yesterday, my passion is singing, and yet I have that freeze with my voice that I've literally had no guidance on what to do about it. I mean, specifically about the shaking and tightness and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, obviously, the connected breathing helps, and yet when I get into fear, like I'm in fear right now of even speaking, okay? And
what's happening?
Well, it just
what's
happens.
Happening is bringing the fear about.
Just speaking about it, confronting it, facing it. What's going on with it?
What's it?
Well, I guess I have to do a worksheet on.
It. So let's identify what the it is.
My voice strangling, my shaking in my voice, my uneven airflow that causes the pitch to be off, and just my whole body actually is in terror. Okay, so a lot of times when I put myself out there on something like this that I have to face, I won't sing in front of people because it comes up when I sing in front of people. So it's like I hate it. I really hate it. I can't tell you that I love it, and I want to love it. Okay, but because how else am I going to
when
feel
you say hate it, love it? What's that?
The terror, that the freeze that goes on when I put my voice out there. I mean, I can talk a lot to people about things that don't matter, and my voice doesn't do that. But when something that is so precious to me, like it's a baby child, is my my passion for singing, and yet I can only do it in front of myself and my teacher, and I have done it in front of other people before, and of course I got comments that were really rude, and I am intimidated very easily, I suppose, that I don't want to come back and do it again. But I do want to overcome everything. What? I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. And we're here to support you overcoming everything. That's the work.
Yes.
And it sounds like, actually, it's interesting that you're saying this right now about singing. Last night we were watching America's Got Talent with Jeannie's dad. He watches a lot of television. Usually in the evening we spend a couple hours with him just hanging out and watching TV. And there was a young lady who's a singer and has a YouTube channel. And she made it to America's Got Talent. And she's a songwriter as well. And the song she wrote, she took all of the negative comments from her YouTube channel. It was really kind of interesting and so courageous, but it definitely gave her an opportunity, because she's standing up there telling people about how the comments on her channel have been, you're no good, your voice is sour, you're lousy, you should never be singing. One of her melody lines in the song was, I'm going to unsubscribe. And, she was courageous enough to get on America's Got Talent and sing that song and tell everybody about all the negative comments that she had gotten on her YouTube channel as she is working her way to becoming a professional singer.
Yeah.
And so I suspect that what you're going to have to do to really open up your voice is look at all the times when your energy field shut down, when you wanted to express, perhaps musically, or just simply having your voice heard, speaking, and all the times you were put down and cajoled, or maybe physically, mentally, or emotionally abused. I don't know. Is any of that accurate?
Oh, of course. I mean, I was the target for everybody in my family. I grew to, I guess, have a thought disorder on an unconscious level that I don't know why I said unconscious. It was very conscious. I just thought that's what I am in this family. That's what I am, and now it keeps getting repeated through every relationship and everywhere I go, at jobs and everything. And so so anyway, I wanted to share with you this. This is really interesting. Before I met you, Aretha Franklin was one of my amazing artists that I truly, truly just, my spirit just lit up with. Then of course I I loved her lyrics too because I was into the victim role, and I think she has tons of victim lyrics, tons of them.
Yeah.
You're
right.
no good,
Mm-hmm.
you're no good, baby, you're no good, and I would
Baby,
love
you're
to
no
sing
good.
those
Yep.
things.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would love to sing those things, and it was about people I was in relationships with or my family or whatever. And after I found out that, this is a lie because of your work, I did a 180 or a 360 or whatever that is, and I'm staying away from lyrics like that. But on my YouTube channel, Jennifer Hudson, who is a winner of American Idol, is playing her in a movie that's coming out into its theaters August 15th
right.
or something. And I was like jumping up and down with joy. I was like, I'm going to see it. I'm going to go. And then all of a sudden it dawned, well, why I really wanted to go is because on the trailer, Aretha Franklin was, her mother was saying, and this is so important what her mother said that that's what I need to do. She said, your voice is sacred and you need to honor and respect it. Oh, my God. Because I've done work with you and Jeannie about honoring and respecting myself, for what I've been through, and no one else is going to do it, and no one else did it. It's my job. That's my job. That's my job. And when then the trailer said that, her mother, Aretha's mother said that, I was like, oh, my God, I got to go. But I forgot. I
That's
thought,
me.
I'm going to go. Huh?
And that's me.
Yeah, that's what I got to do. Well, of course, every time I see an artist I love, I say to myself, that's me. I have that much passion, but that's this thing that I freeze. My teacher has seen it. I've invited a student in. I said, no, he goes, you're good. You're really good. So invite your friend student in and have him listen. So I couldn't move. I was so froze. I couldn't think. I couldn't make a sound.
Interesting that I started out the intro with that today.
Well, and I'm going to my voice lesson this morning. It's in about half an hour. I have to leave. So, and I felt really good about practicing this morning. It comes and goes. It's okay. We all have our days.
Right.
But the terror, the complete feeling like somebody's gonna kill me or something. I don't know why my body goes into that. Okay, but you were saying that before. Yeah, and so nobody's ever explained. Yes. So I thought maybe you might be able to walk through a really quick worksheet with me. I don't know if that's cheating, that I'm not doing it, that I'm having you help me walk through it on this particular
that'd
issue.
be fine. Absolutely.
Okay, I have a reality. Okay.
First of all, I have an assignment for you.
Okay.
Okay. I also like music. If I weren't doing this work, chances are I'd be in the music field singing as well.
Okay, got it.
And there's something that I do with music as a practice, and I'm going to invite you to enter into that practice, and I'm going to invite you to start out with Aretha Franklin song, You're No Good. And I want you to practice with it and sing it over and over and over and over again. Just wail it to the max. But I want you to become conscious of the words and change the words. So personally, when I hear Aretha Franklin sing that song, what's going through my head and my mimicking of it is not you're no good, you're no good, you're no good, but it's you're so good, baby, you are so good. So start to consciously, purposely change the language of those victim songs, and as you do, you'll become more cognizant of the victim thoughts that you carry that need to be.
You went out for a second. What?
That need to
Michael,
be forgiven.
You're out. Okay, got it. Now, I can tell you, God knows, in my 30s, I was still pursuing voice. I went to every voice coach for God knows decades, right? And I had a friend who was also the same voice coach, and I told her, I said, I can't, all these songs are codependent. I don't want to sing any of them. But, I didn't hear any that weren't, so I just fell in doing it. And, I said to myself eventually, might as well sing these because I can't find any other ones that I like the groove, I like the whatever, I like it. And so I thought, well, I have these relationships anyway, I might as well sing them. So, but okay, so I'm singing this, your point is because I need to get in touch with that part of me again, obviously. Is that what? And then change the lyrics?
Consciously, purposely change every lyric that is a codependent lyric.
Yes. Yes.
You know, the lyric that says, I can't live without you, you shift into something like, and here we are, living together in joy, peacefully, caring, supporting,
yes.
and cherishing each other.
Yes.
So wherever those codependent lyrics are, allow yourself to become conscious of it and shift them, in the instant. Jeannie oftentimes will kind of laugh at me as we're driving along, maybe the radio's on or whatever, and we're listening to a piece of music, and I'm singing a totally different set of words from what the song's singing.
Yeah.
But we're bringing in conscious language and conscious lyrics.
Okay, yeah.
Bring healing and support to the process.
So what, you want me to sing on You're No Good for a million years before I do that? Is that, I mean, you were saying sing it loud.
Just wail it to the max until it's natural for you to sing You're So Good rather than No Good.
Oh, so don't sing You're No Good, sing You're So Good. It's to the top of my
voice. The whole idea here is take these songs that are your favorites, consciously, purposely change the words as you're listening to it. I mean, even a brand new song. You know, you notice when you listen to a new song and you like the beat of it and such, you can pretty much tell the words that are coming. And shift those words into conscious language, healing language. Language that, you can create a platform for yourself of love that you can stand on to lift you out of that codependent and self-put-down stuff.
Well, I stopped doing it after I did listen to one of your shows about 3 months ago, and I told my voice coach, I said, I can't sing any more of the songs I've ever sung before because they're all about, your whatever, and it's not me, whatever.
Time to rewrite them.
Right. Okay. And so I was on a mission to, before you said to change the lyrics for Aretha, I'm not Aretha though. I've been told by a voice coach, you're not Aretha. Okay. I also love James Brown, as you said, and you're not a crackhead James Brown either. And so I'm like,
I knew James Brown when he was not a crackhead.
You did?
Yeah, I did. Yes. I used to manage a music store. This goes back to 45 years ago. And we hosted him in the store. And, I mean, you want to talk about an electric presence walking into a room? The store was just jammed with people this night that he came to do a brief performance. He was in town to do a concert. And I'll tell you, when he walked in the room, he just grabbed every bit of energy in the room and every bit of attention in the room. It was absolutely awesome.
That's my style of music. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's where I forget the name of the recording studio there that he recorded, back in the day. One of my ex-husbands was a road manager for a lot of people like Luther Vandross, and James Brown had died by then, but James Brown's son is out there. I don't know what he's doing anymore. But my ex-husband, who was a road manager, had, done his son's stuff or whatever, one of his sons. And I was surrounded by that because my ex-husband was for all of those kind of people. I just felt crazy in that environment, though, I'll tell you that. Because there's a lot of drugs going on there. Yes, there is. There's a lot of drugs going on there. That's the other thing that I'm, maybe this part of me is scared to death to really go forward because I've been there as a outside circle because the husband's in it. But it was insanity for me. I'm not a drug person. I don't like to do anything like that. So anyway, but my worksheet is there a way to get started on this that you can help me? And
Let's
now
go
I
for
can
it.
share tomorrow what I work on. It's just the shaking, and my teacher, current teacher, who's an amazing teacher, he said my voice has not been shaking lately because he's teaching me that I need to breathe more. He doesn't teach me how, but yesterday you said, well, now you're learning how. Okay, so from your work. So because my breath isn't steady, because I'm in like panic mode sometimes I'm just in and I just get flashbacks or something. He says, why your voice is shaking again? And I'm like, I just want to go, it's been 4 years I've been working with this guy and now my voice is shaking again. Okay, so
next
so
layer.
He's not saying, next layer, yeah.
So in your healing
layer.
process, you're going to go through the layers of that sort of thing.
Sure. So I would love to go into my voice lesson today with the confidence of the love that made me and is in me, and I would love to. I would like to be done with this voice thing, this voice issue of just whatever.
Well, let's look into, if I ask you the question, fill in the blank for me, just
Am I doing
without
the
any conscious thinking. Without any conscious thinking, I want you to fill in the blank for me. The time in my life when I felt most threatened and afraid was when. Breathe.
I'm breathing. It was a constant thing. That's why it's like the whole life shoots before my eyes.
Okay. So what's the most important event that bypasses or passes through your eyes?
Of the most time that I've been what?
The time when you felt most threatened.
That I can remember, the earliest?
Well, the time when it's been most, or perhaps the time when you've been most threatening. You remember the issue you were doing with the dog. You were doing your power person stuff. You were threatening the dog to try to control them the way you were threatened and controlled.
No. I remember I sang and put on shows until I was up to 9 years old or 10.
Right.
And then all of a sudden my family had wanted to move. I had a friend across the street. Her mother loved me. That was my saving grace. It felt strange, but that she loved me because I didn't know what that was. And my parents never came to see me. I'm right across the street. So the point is, I had no issue with singing then. I loved it. I loved being in front of people. And I think the thing that made me really love it is my family didn't come, okay? When we moved a year later and I felt totally ripped from my friend who was my only friend, and we sang and danced and we did put on shows and it was gone. And so that's also the time my father sexually conned me into thinking he was teaching me about the birds and bees. And when I got off of his, so the question is, what's the time in my life that I feel most threatened?
Mm-hmm.
It
sounds like the place to go is to do a worksheet around Dad right now.
Well, yeah, because I didn't trust him. I mean, I just freaked out. And then my mother also got in my face. I told this before on another show, but she took me when nobody was around and out of the blue came up and said, "You're the reason that you turn your father on, you turn your brother on, now and you're going to hell and you're mentally ill and you're whatever." Whatever she was screaming, it was like me screaming at my dogs, okay, at 11, which totally, I just looked at her like, I don't know who she is. I mean, she's never loved me. She's never literally loved me. I mean, because I was her excuse for not dealing with what she had. But it was her voice, maybe I told myself I never want to have a voice like that. I don't know. But it was so unnerving that I felt frozen. That's the first time I ever felt totally blocked, frozen, ever. And when my dad accused me after he attempted to use me for whatever his issue was sexually, and then I jumped off of him in terror, he screamed, "You're a whore! You're a slut! I know you're doing drugs." And I'm a little tiny kid, and I just look at him like froze. I froze around everybody after that event. I froze around everybody. Yeah. And how would that affect my voice? Well, I knew where I stood in that family. Yeah. I didn't want to ever use my voice. I didn't want to ever speak. I couldn't speak. As a matter of fact, I have a memory of my sister saying at my family business one day to her kids that were there in the cafeteria, "She never speaks. She never talks." My sister was the one who liked to take her friends and look in the window when I'm singing in the bedroom and laugh their heads off and point and make fun of me. So I had no support for my voice. My brother was a musician, and if I looked at his stuff, he took me by the collar of the Catholic church, Catholic white shirt I was wearing, uniform, and threw me into the wall to threaten me to never, ever think that I have anything in me that ever needs that has anything to do with music. Yeah. You know, because he was a star of the family, and when he was in a band and came back and my mother said something, how'd it go? I remember him saying, "They said I can't sing in a note in a bucket," and his ego was huge. Of course, a lot of ours are, and he used to build every guitar known to mankind, sitars, everything, gone. He gave it all up to be president of my dad's company. So he had a talent, too, for music, for guitar. And yet, because of his voice, I know he's got a lot of anger in him and tons of rage. And, you know, he took it out on me. So I knew, don't even try. Don't even try to have a voice. I was even scared to death to go into music stores here. I knew I was a musician. They wouldn't let me know that. I knew I was a singer. They wouldn't let me know that. They told me I was going to be somebody they want me to be.
Okay. So let's take a breath.
So I would shake in music stores, literally, as a 16-year-old or whatever I was, with a passion for music. I'd shake so bad going into a music store. It has something to do with I'm not allowed. Yep. Or my voice, if I speak up or anything, I don't know. I really can't come with a single episode.
You just outlined three powerful ones. And remember with Yeshua when they said, well, how many times do we need to forgive? Is 7 times enough? In Aramaic, his answer was 77 times 70. You just uncovered 3 major issues that are going to be multi-worksheet issues for you. And I'd suggest we start with the first one, which you said was the first time you remember freezing, and that was with your mom.
Yes.
So I would suggest that you start to work with worksheets around mom and her messaging to you in that situation, and then dad around sexually abusing you, and then your brother around taking out his rage on you and the messages he gave you. So there are 3,
Okay, so I really have an important one here that just came to me. My father, from the day I was born, said I was going to be a famous actress because he was really good. He went to a conservatory in Cincinnati. He was one of the best ones that were there as an actor. He moved out to Los Angeles before he met my mother, and he parked cars for a long time. And his friend who had money, is actually his first cousin, said, well, you know, we don't have to do this the rest of our life, you know. And my dad, of course, it was his dream to be an actor. He actually lived around the corner from Doris Day, who used to pat his head because he's a little older. He used to write Doris Day and Bob Hope and everybody saying, my daughter wants to be a famous actress. I told him around the age of 21, since I have no interest in being an actress, that I don't even study it. So how can I know? He said, all you have to do is be sexy. I'm thinking to myself, even back then, before all this stuff comes out about Hollywood or whatever it is now, I thought to myself, is he saying what I think he's saying? That all I have to do is go, is lay on the couch or whatever they call that, you know, for an interview or something. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but you know, his idea is all you have to be is sexy, and I'm thinking, no, that's how I get in trouble, okay, with him, because he thought I was sexy my whole life, you know, like his girlfriend. He would say it all the time, and he'd say remarks about my body and everything, and I'd be like cringing. And this comes out of a man like that, and so that's why I had the impression from my father that I wasn't going to be abused because I'm sexy, okay? Because he says I'm sexy, and so he wants me to go into a business where that's where a lot of abuse is. Well, guess what? In the music industry, it's very abusive. It was back then for women, okay? It was horrible, okay, for a lot of women. As a matter of fact, one of the most famous voice coaches in the world, I can't say his name on the radio, but my coach told me that he was studying with him. He was Michael Jackson's teacher and everything, and a girl's talking to this famous coach of all these people, Ray Charles, you know, you name it, and my teacher's sitting there, and this girl, he goes to this girl, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your voice? She said, I want to be a pop star. And he goes, well, you need to get a boob job. Okay, my teacher and all the guys in the class literally, they just dropped their jaws that he said that to her, because obviously she didn't look sexy enough. Okay, so she needed a boob job. And that's what the pop music industry, according to him, is what you need. So, you know, that's the kind of men I like to stay the heck away from. And I obviously felt that somehow in my bones that this industry isn't what I want to be in, because I'm going to get abused. That's literally my father saying that to me. You know, he's writing Bob Hope and telling everybody, Doris Day, hey, my daughter wants to be famous. I'm like, no, Dad, it's not me. You got the wrong person. Oh, but he wouldn't quit. Anyway, that to me is traumatizing, in that I was groomed to be in that vibe because I'm sexy, according to my dad.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm going to suggest that you do is make notes of today and download this show and listen to yourself.
Yes. Okay.
And you've just outlined now you've outlined the fifth major issue.
Yeah.
That it's relating directly to your voice and the nerve supply to your voice being restricted because of fear and abuse.
Yes.
So you've just outlined, probably 300, 400, 500 worksheets that you will end up doing in order to clear up. Well, stop and think about it. I mean, you've been around the block a few times. You've done this rodeo previously. Yeah. And now you're beginning to look at it as it was, and you're going to start to resolve it. That kind of, decades of that kind of abuse don't all of a sudden go away because you went, oh, gee, that was abusive. It goes away because you step in and piece by piece you do the work that needs to be done to free yourself of it.
Yes. Step one, do I just do this reality management sheet with 7 steps on it?
So let's get into one. We're down to about 14 minutes or so.
Right.
So we can at least do a good outline and start point on one.
Okay.
So let's go back. Okay. You spoke once again. Your words were, that's the first time I remember freezing. That was with Mom. Mm-hmm. So I'd put Mom in as the object of attention. First of all, remember to proclaim the realization who I am.
Okay.
I, love. Cecilia, who am love.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the feeling as you what word would you use to describe your emotional condition when you went into that free state around that issue with Mom?
What is the emotion?
Mm-hmm.
Shock.
Shock. Okay.
Totally shocked that this was coming at me, like a being in a war and just being shot at till you're dead.
Just totally out of left field. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, but she was shocked.
And they're important
right
words. Yeah. Yeah. Very important words that you just said, like being in a war and being shot at until you're dead.
Yeah.
That's important. So now what we just did is we started to uncover the fact that this is a Hydra worksheet. Do you remember our describing what a Hydra worksheet is?
I have the Hydra hanging from my light fixture in my house. It's the Hydra dog toy, yes.
Okay. So this is another, I'd suggest that you put a note on another sheet.
Okay.
And you describe in the situation being shot to death.
Yeah.
And you then use that kind of, Jeannie calls this backing into a worksheet. You use that to back into what that worksheet is about.
Is that separate from when I froze?
That'll be a separate worksheet. I'm suggesting you start a second worksheet where you put in the description of what happened, being shot and shot until you're dead, like being in a war.
Okay.
And just pay attention to every word that comes out of your mind as you do each of these worksheets, and you'll be unfolding those parts and pieces that the energy is so intense that you just go blotto unconscious with it. Become conscious of your words, get a record of them, and do your work around each one of them.
I'm sorry, do my record with it?
No, I'm saying keep a record of every word.
Oh, thanks.
You know, as I'm instructing you to do now.
Oh, I see.
As you tapped into being shocked, your language went into literally being shot until dead. That's another word.
She went
Put
at it
that
the rest
on
of
another
my
word.
life. She
Say
went
it again?
on doing that to me every time I was around her.
Yeah.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Or the silent treatment, which is just as if you're dead.
Yeah. So notice that this has all had an energy impact that literally puts you into that sympathetic dominant state where it's fear and survival, and then to the extreme of the freeze, the shutdown state. And what you're going to do. And these are states in your nervous system. You've got no choice about them. They're energetic patterns that are there. And now as you're aware of them, you can consciously, purposely breathe. Notice where the tightness is in your structure. Allow that tightness to loosen and open until you free your nervous system of those energetic patterns.
I've got this conscious connected breath exercise that says to do that from yesterday. I told you about. I've been reading it like 20 times since yesterday to try to get it in me.
Cool. Perfect.
I also want to say it's got something more to do than singing, because every time I was a beautician, because I couldn't be a musician, a singer, according to my family. So I would get jobs working as an understudy for someone from New York or whatever, down in downtown Cincinnati, or at another salon. I was a manager, and I'll tell you what, guys used to touch me, okay? Hoo-hoo. All right, so that's when I froze, and I literally couldn't stay there anymore. I mean, I was so afraid of being assaulted and abused that sweat would pour down my, even as being any job, okay, after that. And they'd tell me, honey, go home and take care of yourself. And when you're better, come back. My nerves were always shot that I couldn't even, like, people didn't even want me to work for them because it was so obvious that I'm, like, destroyed.
So notice notice you just opened another 4 or 5 worksheets. This is your Hydra.
900 now. Yeah. Okay.
This is where your work is. This is where your work
but
is.
I think it all
to keep those things opening. Say again?
I think it came from the incredible abuse I had to put up with as a kid. I just think it has everything to do that I'm not dealing with it or something still.
Yeah. Notice what's happening with your voice right now. Notice you're on the verge of that shutdown energy. So I want you to assure you that you're safe and you're supported right now. That Jeannie is here. She's been through some of that. She's holding the space for you. I'm here.
But I didn't
I'm
even
holding
have
the
an
space for you.
environment to live in that was safe ever. I even took it in every relationship that I've had.
Yeah. And so now notice that you do have a place of safety.
Yes.
Then just breathe into that safety. Right now you are safe, and there's a whole audience of people from all over the world who are holding the space for you right now. Specifically, totally focused on Cecilia right now, honoring her and holding the space for her.
Thank you.
And it's safe for you to just breathe and let that in for a minute.
Okay.
And my inclination is to invite Jeannie. Sweetie, do you have anything to share with Cecilia right now?
Just be gentle with yourself and be with it. You know, it's amazing what we go back through. And, you know, I had shut down even thinking about my physical abuse for 40 years. And when we've started breathing and all and doing a lot of extra work and stuff in the last month or so, physically things are showing up in my blood work and just different things. And it's like, you know, we can't make ourselves safe by not looking at it for so long. Yeah. And so be gentle with yourself as you're facing it and going through it, because things will come back up. But just hold to one consolation is that we are promised that we'll never be given more than we can bear. And it's, you know, there is a self-preservation mechanism that if there's too much stress or too much whatever that starts to come up, our bodies will actually shut it down if we're not vital enough to deal with it.
Yeah.
So if it's in your face, that means you're vital enough right now. So just breathe and be with it.
Go ahead.
You're vital enough because you're eating better, you're taking care of yourself, you're doing your inner work.
I've always eaten better, Jeannie. I'm in this. I told my daughter I had the group of people now that were holding spaces left for me, and I meant this work that you do, and that's why I think I can finally handle really dealing with this now.
As you become more vital, then you can look at the deeper, darker things. And
unfortunately, I know they're there too.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I guess fortunately, because I have people holding spaces for me of being strong and doing this, and I couldn't do it before because I did not have that in my life. So, and I mean, I have that in my life now. I do for me. I'm standing for me. Yes.
And notice that you're developing the skill to be able to do that for yourself as well.
Yes. Yes, I wanted to add that.
Because the truth about you is that you are the safety. Your being, the truth of you is the safety.
Oh, yes, thanks.
And now you're opening, and you know, what your dad did in terms of sexual abuse, what your brother did in terms of putting you down, what your mom did, you know, they didn't just make that up one day and say, oh, I think I'll do this to Cecilia. That was their nervous systems. The same way that you were puking out that day on the animals, That was their
Yes.
nervous systems puking out
Yes.
what they'd never dealt with.
I hear you.
And
My
so
mother used
here
to,
you are.
used to sing in front of a jazz ensemble, and my mother would come and tell me, that was crappy. You're horrible. And she was so mean, so incredibly mean. But I get that really got clear the other day. She never said it. I'm sure she wanted to be and a musician.
Yeah.
She never
And notice how you were willing to put that whole trip on the dog that day. It's in our nervous systems, and that's why we do it. So notice that you're the early adopter in the family, and you said, I'm going to work through this, and here you are doing it. And there's going to be some crazy time stuff open up in you. And know that we're here holding the space, and that you can move through it. And you're doing it.
Okay. Yes.
And so we breathe with you, consciously, purposely breathe with you, and we're down to the last minute or so, and the show's going to cut us off, so I'm just going to say that we continuously hold the space for you and see you coming totally and completely out the other side, free of all of this. And when you do, it will be such a gift to the world, because there's so much of the world suffering this.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we hold the space for you, young lady. And everybody, create the best year yet of your eternal life. These are the tools for doing it.